And the idea of being the front man was, I had to be talked into it. I mean, I wouldn't say kicking and screaming, but they had to smooth me, you know. But at that time in the Stones, my thing has always been with the rhythm section, with Charlie Watts and the drummer. And since Charlie had recommended Steve, I felt, well, let's give it a bash. You know, you don't have to put it out if it don't work. And I don't know if I could sustain being the front man and playing at the same time. You know, I mean, the way I play, there's not a lot of room for singing. And I had to figure out how to do that.
Right.
But thanks to Steve and the band as it came together, I said, okay, Steve, who do we work with? He said, well, who do you feel like playing with? And I said, I want Waddy Wagtail, man. I want to play with Waddy Wagtail. Yeah. So one phone call. I mean, are the keyboards and all around and extra vocal? Ivan Neville. Okay. Within half an hour, probably less, we had the makings of the band. Charlie Drayton was already in with Steve because they'd been working together.
That's right.
So Bobby Keys, I can make the phone call. I know that he's in. So within like a weird, like half an hour, we had the embryonic makings of this band, you know, and it was like all friends and all guys that have always wanted to work together that never had, and say, okay, that was how it started.
Well, great people.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was the thing, you know, when you hear this album, you know, the first thing you think is this how natural it sounds, you know, how organic it sounds. You know, there's no,
There you go.
you know, there's no sort of gimmickry or, you know, because when Steve mentioned it to me, he says, me and Keith are going to do something. I was like, who's going to be the adult supervision in that room, you know? I'm like, uh-oh. But then I thought to myself, wait a minute, as long as Keith's guitar's there and Steve's snare drum, the rest will fall into place, you know?
Kind of.
Because that's sort of like, because Steve's got that Charlie Watts sound, you know? Steve has it. Actually, Charlie Drayton has it also.
Yeah.
That wonderful snare drum thing that is unique, and it complements your guitar. You know, the two are just so wonderful together. It's going all the way back with Charlie, you know, Charlie Watts. So I thought to myself, you know, this is going to work, you know. I mean, the rest is all icing on the cake. Let's talk about the origin of this, because we happen to have the origin of it right here.
Actually, this all happened around me. I mean, I did, you know, at the time the record came out, I had a feeling for some weird reason. It was just one of those things you didn't really think about. But there would be a second life in this record. But I mean, that was just like some whim, you know. I mean, you didn't, you know. What is strange 30 years later is that once again I got talked into it. But how could I say no? In the record company, the powers that be, shall we say, said we'd love to like reissue this, and I mean, there's no way I'm going to say no. But I had no idea it was going to be reissued in such, this dimension of
Respect, man, respect. It's respect.
You know,
that's what it is.
And then I started listening to the damn thing again, and I said, yeah, damn right.
You had the outtakes, I guess. Did you go back and have to find the outtakes?
Yeah, I'd forgotten about the outtakes because they came very early on from the Chuck Berry movie. Joey Spompanado's on bass on My Babe, and Johnny Johnson. And then who walks in? Mick Taylor. Out of the blue. So...
and there'd been no bad blood, really, between the two? I mean...
Oh, no. Mick Taylor, I mean, Mick had worked back with the Stones a few years ago for a tour. It's just what happened, you know.
Yeah.
It did lead me on to, like, Ronnie Wood, who, you know, had been working and who needed a job.
But you also had a couple of legendary cats, additional
Oh,
legendary
yeah,
cats on
guys
here.
are walking in, man.
Right.
That we had
Bernie Worrell, right?
Bonnie Worrell, Bootsy
from
Collins,
Bootsy Collins.
Maceo Parker, you know,
For those of
Frankie
you-
Gavin.
For those that might not know, Bootsy and Maceo were, of course, from James Brown's band.
Bootsy apparently he drove from Cleveland to Queens in New
Wow.
York. But then we were going to fly him in. No, I like to drive for him.
Of course, the tour was great. One of my favorite things on the record also is you went down to Memphis, huh?
Make no mistake about
yeah,
it. Yeah,
I love that song. I think it's one of the ones that ended up in Sopranos, didn't it? I think.
I think it did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's just a fantastic.
Yeah, it was a track we cut up. I think we cut it in Queens. It was such a Memphis sort of track.
The groove.
But you know, to finish it off, we have to take it to Willie Mitchell. You know, who is like the king of. He did all the Memphis stuff. You know, Stax and High Records and.
Yeah.
Sam and Dave,
Royal
Al
Studio.
Green,
We should mention Sarah Dash, huh?
Miss Sarah Dash.
Yeah. On that track.
Yeah, she's on that track, and she was also on the road with us. And Sarah, see, I'd met Sarah in 1965. We were on the road with Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells at the time, before LaBelle, and this was, you know, quite early on.
Yeah.
And I think Sarah at the time was 15 and had this ferocious chaperone with her, you know. So at the time, you hardly got to say, "Hi, Sarah," you know, without going, you know. So no, it was like hands off. But yeah, but obviously she had a great voice even at that age, and the opportunity to work with Sarah Dash later was like, you know, hey, marvelous, you know.
But again, you know, she wouldn't be a, you know, an obvious choice. I mean, you know, it's a little bit obscure in a way for
That's
for,
why I
you know,
wanted it.
yeah,
I didn't
for-
want some star singing. Sarah Dash just seemed to fit into the thing. And, I mean, the winos are never about stars or anything. It was, the winos are all about, like, here it is. This is the stuff, you know. I would say, as the boys would call it, the shit.
Yeah.
We're going to give you the shit here. You know? And you can bleep that or whatever.
But you can hear it. You can hear it throughout. You know,
Yeah.
throughout the album and the outtakes. This is it sounds like you're in somebody's living room, you know, and everybody's just jamming and
Hey, nobody's trying to make a hit record here or impress anybody or get fucking famous.
Yeah.
You know, they're just trying to make a damn good record. And I think we did that. You know.
That's for sure.